I'm Irving. You have just entered Cartertopia. We begin with some stock footage of a building fire and the amazing individuals who risked their lives to fight fires. You can usually tell it's stock footage by how fuzzy and generic it is. Diana Prince says, "Hey, my show doesn't use stock footage," and moves in to investigate.
Mr. Stryker, I'd like to talk to you.
Picked a lousy time in case you hadn't noticed.
This is the second major disaster to hit your company within a week. If you had cooperated with the IADC before, we might have prevented this one.
The building belongs to Gault Industries, the brainchild of Harlow Gault, recently deceased. Mr. Stryker there is the new head of the company. As quick as he took over, buildings started burning down. He says this is none of your business. Diana says, "You have loads of government contracts, including super secret ones, so that makes it my business." He blows her off and heads for Harlow Gault's funeral. I know it's standard procedure to remove the brain during an autopsy, but most coroners are a little more discreet when they put things back together.
Look at them. Hypocritical bunch of fools. Each of them is secretly overjoyed at Harlow Gault's death. But I'm not dead, am I, my pet? The essence of my genius, my spectacular brain, lives on. I am invincible.
His brain is still alive in that jar. At least it's supposed to be a brain. It looks more like a volleyball that went horribly wrong in manufacturing. He can talk, it's never explained how, but you don't have John Carradine guest star as a dead guy and not have him say anything. So he can talk. And they grafted an eyeball on a stick so he can see what's going on, as long as someone opens the curtains in his little cubby there. Otherwise there's nothing to look at except the back of the drapes. He just finished reading War and Peace in less than an hour on his little computer.
To think that people can do more without their bodies than with them.
Watch. I'll show you something else.
Okay, so he can work the drapes himself. The woman is Tara Landon, Gault's secretary and good right hand. The man is Dr. Crippen, the crazy genius behind this whole thing.
By releasing the brain from the task of operating a body, I've unleashed psychic talents that lie dormant in everyone.
Telekinesis is fine, but life without a physical body to touch and interact with other people sounds lonely. Gault must think the same thing, because Tara reminds the doctor that this brain won't be unleashed for very long. In fact, she's off right now to track down the raw materials he'll need to complete this project. I think we know what kind of raw material he needs for a brain transplant.
Mr. Gault?
Good news or bad news, Chuck?
Bad. Just found out that the IADC has formally assigned Diana Prince to investigate the fire we set.
Turk there is Gault's bodyguard, enforcer, and all-around gopher.
She's supposed to meet again with Stryker this afternoon.
Why, that's good news, Chuck. But it means we better get rid of Ms. Prince once and for all, does it not?
He's decisive, you have to give him that. If he did any research, he'd find out that Diana Prince is notoriously difficult to eliminate. But I have a feeling he'll find that out in due time. Cut to an absolute Adonis who's working out in a gym. Tara is watching approvingly. So are a lot of TV viewers.
That was marvelous. You should have no trouble making the Olympics.
Decathlon's my favorite event. I just work out in the bar to keep in shape.
It's working. She's offering him a job at her uncle's place managing a gym. He's not so sure, but she says, "At least come out and see if you qualify for the job."
That your uncle's address?
See you there at 3?
I hope it won't take too long. I still have 10 miles to run sometime today.
Well, you might just find that once you talk to my uncle, all thoughts of competing in the Olympics are gone from your head.
They keep dropping hints like that one about what's going to happen to him. He's not even remotely thinking along those lines. As we'll find out, he barely thinks at all. And right now, it's even harder to think with all the blood from his brain rushing somewhere else. Tara is working that angle to its fullest and keeping him off balance so he's not catching the implications. But we are, and we're scared for him. Some rich thinks he's more entitled to life than Morton Danzig is, even though he's already had his turn and lived to a decent age. He's more important because he says so, and he's rich. Diana is in Stryker's office interrogating him again. He refuses to cooperate. We also see Turk waiting for her down on the street.
What do you know about Thomas J. Craddock?
Nothing.
Well, then it might interest you to know that it appears likely he will soon gain majority stock control of Gault Industries.
Stryker says, I never heard of him until this.
Nor had anyone else. It's strange that he should suddenly appear just when Gault Industries is in trouble and the stock drops lower each day. Almost sounds planned, doesn't it?
She's not saying Stryker planned it, but that's how he's taking it. He says, if you want anything from me, get a warrant. While he's doing that, someone comes in to tell him a third building just burned down.
They say that bad luck comes in threes, Mr. Stryker, and I have the feeling that in this case, that's an underestimate.
I don't get why he's fighting her like this. She's trying to help him, and he's acting like she's the bad guy. Gault is right about one thing. He's not the person to run this company.
Taxi lady?
500 North Capitol, the Security and Exchange Commission.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not where Turk intends to take her. He wants to show off his new heater that he just installed in the back seat. Your heater core is leaking. Turk put the gas mask on wrong and they both lost consciousness. When the police got the taxi unwrapped from the telephone pole, Turk couldn't explain why he was wearing a gas mask wrong or why the lady from the back seat was punching him repeatedly in the face. His method of making her disappear is imaginative, to say the least. They watch it sink, then leave. Too bad they didn't stay around for the underwater light show. Of course she came out in the wetsuit. If she gets the regular outfit wet, it shrinks and suffocates her, hence the wetsuit. Back at headquarters, Diana thinks Stryker tried to kill her, but Steve isn't so sure. Ira has been working on fingerprints found on the taxi. He came up with 3 identifiable ones.
Photo number 1, Nettelbaum, Selma A., mother of Eugene Nettelbaum, wife of Morris Nettelbaum?
She has something to do with an attempt on my life?
Obviously Ira's idea of a little joke.
Ira's jokes haven't gotten any better.
Photo number 2, Diana
Cute.
Okay, that one was funny. Does he have anything useful, or should we go pick up Thelma Nettelbaum?
This is him. The guy driving the cab.
Turk, George P., 11 arrests, 5 convictions for crimes ranging from arson to armed robbery.
So your basic mercenary thug. Pay him and he'll do just about anything. And 5 convictions suggest he's not very good at some of them.
Why would a dead man's bodyguard want me out of the way?
Bodyguards take orders. The question now is from whom?
Well, I sure hope my car is tuned up because I'm about to pay a visit to the estate of the late Harlow Gault. And I have no intention of taking another cab.
Someone else is visiting the Gault estate.
That athlete I was telling you about has just arrived.
Let's have a look at him.
Wait till you see his shoulders. And the muscles in his legs.
What's his name?
Morton Danzig, an Olympic hopeful. Decathlon,
Means he has stamina.
among other things.
Gault worries that Morton Danzig is too high profile and people will get suspicious when he suddenly becomes a giant of industry.
But Harlow, you promised. You said the choice would be mine, and you'd do whatever had to be done to legitimize who I found.
Yes, that was our arrangement, wasn't it?
It's never said out loud, this is a family show after all, but it's clear what Tara's reward for all this is going to be. That's why she gets to pick the body. She intends to spend a lot of time with it. She's staring just as hard as you are, guys.
Hello, I'd like to see Mr. Turk, please. I'm Diana Prince with the IADC.
Please come in.
That blundering fool, Turk.
To be fair, Turk may need CPR when he sees her. Diana sees Morton.
While the body's beautiful. We're hiring some security guards for the estate.
That was a mistake. She told Morton they're hiring an athletic director. If he and Diana managed to compare notes, she could be in trouble.
You know who's out there.
Better talk to you in here. I'll do the rest.
She sits Diana down in a chair right near that suit of armor with the huge weapon.
Yes, that's correct. He's now working for Mr. Stryker.
Stryker.
Yes, he said that he could use a man with Turk's background, whatever that meant.
Tara is getting more and more agitated, and Diana keeps pressing.
One last question. Did Mr. Gault ever meet with a Thomas J. Craddock?
No, not that I know of.
I wonder if Gault knows Tara was the one who spoiled that. She jumps up and starts with the usual, "I'm so sorry, I don't know how that happened," etc., etc., etc.
What it's worth, I've got a theory. Ghosts.
And she's pretty sure this particular ghost was behind that conspicuous red drape. But it's not time to pull the curtain back yet. We have runtime to fill. Diana is going to have Iris start trying to figure out why Morton Danzig would be hanging out at the Gault estate.
You don't buy that security guard story, do you?
Since when do security guards have to look like Bruce Jenner?
There's a pop culture reference that's aged well. It's time to go confront Stryker with the knowledge that he hired Turk to kill Diana. Stryker is at a shooting range, taking out his frustrations on some clay pigeons.
Pull! Pull! Pull!
I believe this is yours.
He's pretty docile under the lasso.
You ordered George Turk to kill Diana Prince, didn't you?
I did no such thing.
Well, Turk still does work for Gault Industries, doesn't he?
Turk was one of Gault's right-hand men.
Well, who's giving him orders now?
Ask Tara Landon, Gault's secretary. Turk must be taking orders from her now.
So Tara lied and sent her on a wild goose chase. What about Thomas J. Craddock?
My research shows no such person exists. It was just a name on paper.
Well, whoever is using that name is obviously trying to gain majority control of Gault Industries stock and possibly set himself up as chairman of the board. Who?
Harlow Gault.
Harlow Gault is dead.
He hated me. Hated the fact that I would control his company when he died. It's as if he's still trying to get me.
She releases him and says, "This skeet shooting looks like fun. May I try?"
Paul! 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 It's much more sporting that way.
The next day, Stryker sold his shotgun and invented Viagra.
I think we'll have some good news for you in just a few minutes.
Listen, I'm still not sure I'm all that interested in the job.
Well, maybe that's because we haven't really discussed
Sleeping arrangements?
money.
Oh yeah, that too.
How does $1,000 sound to you?
A month?
A week.
At this time, $30,000 a year was upper middle class, doing a tad better than the average person. $50,000 was close to the big leagues. And then there are the other, perks she keeps flashing at him. I think he's getting dizzy.
It'd be like getting paid to train for the Olympics, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How about it, Morton? Are you interested?
Yeah.
Ira can't find any connection between Gault Industries and Morton Danzig, but he did find something odd.
At this moment, computerized data concerning his scholastic records at Central University are being tampered with.
Someone's changing his transcript right now?
Affirmative. Not only are his grades being raised from a 2.3 average to a 3.5, but his major is being changed from physical education to business.
That's how Gault is going to deal with the sudden change in Morton? Alter his school records? Aside from all the pictures and articles and news stories about his athletic achievements, the people who knew him are going to cry foul, there'll be a huge investigation, and they'll all get the chair for murder.
Ira, is it possible to arrange a malfunction at Central's data processing center? Just to stall anyone who's there long enough for me to have a talk with Morton?
With pleasure.
He's off to the Gault estate where weird things are happening. Normal people use a saw like that to cut a hole in a door to install a doorknob. He's going to use it to cut the top of Morton's head off and install a doorknob. Steve arrives at the estate and Tara puts him in Gault's room with Morton Danzig.
Morton, are you aware that at this very moment someone's changing your college transcript?
Huh?
Your grade records. Somebody's tampering with them, making you look like an A student instead of the C student we both know you were.
Sounds great.
This is going right over his head. It's a good thing Tara's only interested in his body.
I understand you're going to be working out here.
I'm gonna run a private gym. $1,000 a week.
For running a gym?
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. Especially since Miss Landon told one of my co-workers that you were interviewing for the job as a security guard.
She did?
That got his attention. Why would she do that?
Look, Morton, something weird's going on around here, and you seem to be right in the middle of it. Is there anything you want to tell me?
No.
If there's one thing he knows for sure, it's nothing.
Ira, you think the man we're looking for is still at the data processing center?
Affirmative. Does Steve Trevor wish me to undo the malfunction I created in the university's computer?
Give me 5 minutes, then undo it. Meanwhile, call Diana and tell her to meet me there right away. You got that?
10-4.
10-4?
He arrives just as the hackers are leaving.
IADC, hold it!
They manage to get to a car. That's one way to stop them, with a little help from somebody who's going to get a new car and a nice big settlement from the IADC. Turk gets away, the other guy doesn't.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more time. Who are you working for?
He works for Gault Industries.
Diana.
Hi, Steve. Last seen, in fact, in the office of Mr. Stryker.
He was the guy who told Stryker about the third fire. That means he was a plant put there to keep an eye on Stryker and keep Tara informed about what Stryker was doing.
The Stryker is behind all this?
Why don't we hear what the man who faces conspiracy charges has to say?
He says, I take my orders from Tara Landon and I don't know what she wants with Morton Danzig.
Is she trying to make Morton appear to be Thomas J. Craddock?
All right, Morton Danzig is being held on the estate. That's all I know.
Being held are the words Diana needs to hear. They give her the authority to basically invade the place and tear it apart looking for him.
Diana, wait for a backup.
Give me a half an hour. If you don't hear from me, then call a backup.
Steve doesn't realize she is backup. She's been his backup more times than either of them can count. He just doesn't know it because she changes clothes.
There's a couple questions I wanted to ask you.
Oh, they can wait, can't they?
I don't think so. What's that for?
Nothing to worry your head about, Morton. When you wake up, you'll be a new man.
When you wake up should be all he needs to hear. Punch the doctor, push Tara aside, kick Turk in the don't kick me there spot, and get out of there.
Don't let him escape, you idiot!
Or that works too. Now his problem is he can't find the front door. Plus there's 3 of them and 1 of him, and Tara just produced a gun. Now, she can't shoot him. If she damages that perfect body, Gault can't use it, so it's all a bluff. But even when he's not in a panic, I don't think Morton has the gray matter to sort that out. The chase doesn't last long.
It's time we met face to face, so to speak.
Don't you mean face to stalk? I think he was trying to make a joke. Well, what can you expect from an eyeball on a drinking straw?
Who are you? Where are you?
My name is Harlow Gault, and I'm right smack in front of you, you young dolt.
I don't see anything but a fish tank.
This fish tank holds one of the world's most brilliant and powerful minds.
I think his humility is what he'll be best remembered for. What he means is he made a lot of money exploiting other people. That's not genius, that's jerk. And if you have to go around telling people what a genius you are, you're no genius, dude.
You should feel honored to have been selected as the receptacle for my genius.
You'll, excuse me if I don't accept the honor.
Smash the jar. Grab it and pull it off the pedestal. Push it over. If it's on the floor, he can't do anything with it. may be an Olympic-level athlete, but I think if you put him in the Oval Office and told him to go stand in the corner, he'd spend the rest of his life trying. He's stopped resisting, so the next thing we know, he's unconscious, his head is shaved, and the whole saw is ready to descend. When it was over and Tara got what she wanted, she discovered that Morton had been using steroids for years and, She makes her way past some guards and finds a basement window.
What's the delay?
Not getting enough current.
There's an intruder on the grounds, heading for the house. Alert the guards, Chuck. Take care of whoever it is yourself.
Yeah, I want to watch that. Too bad she can't squeeze through there. Time to find another way in.
Hold it right there.
I've noticed just about every episode this season we do 2 shots, 1 for each bracelet. It's almost like we feel we have to put it there. It's routine, it's required. Look at Wonder Woman's expression. She looks bored. If it's become that humdrum, leave it out for an episode and see what the feedback is. If there isn't any or it's not too bad, quit doing it. TV shows are allowed to do that sort of thing.
Continue, you fool.
This is a very delicate operation. If I am interrupted, it could be disastrous.
Whatever it was, Chuck's taking care of it. Go on with it.
Dr. Crippen should have sedated both of them. Putting the patient in charge of the surgery is not a good idea. Turk has Wonder Woman cornered. Or not.
Don't stop, Crippen. I'll take care of her.
If he's as telekinetic as he's supposed to be, he could just suspend her up in the air until they're done. That's how he plans to defeat her? Throw stuff at her? Where are they going? The saw is still running and coming down on Danzig's head. I thought he told you to finish the operation and now you're all leaving. This doesn't make sense. And Gault keeps throwing stuff at Wonder Woman, apparently keeping her busy while they escape and the saw does its hideous work. Gault and company get into a van outside. After all that, Morton still gets to keep his body, and Tara never even got to see the good parts. Turk is in custody, headed for a 6th conviction. The rest got away.
It's frightening. He almost pulled it off. Gault, using Morton's body, almost took over his own business empire. Only this time it's a vibrant young man instead of a dying 70-year-old.
Yeah, but the trouble is, there's only one thing Gault can do, and that's try again.
He won't. In the fine tradition of wasting opportunities, it's a one and done. Gault, Tara, Dr. Crippen, they're all history. For all we know, now some 41 years later, Gault is still out there rolling around in his jar looking for a new body to inhabit. He's on his own because Tara got tired of waiting and ran off with the doctor. And Morton Danzig?
How's it look?
Well, I don't know, Morton. I think it looks kind of cute.
He'll be fine once his hair grows back. He found that in Tara's stuff, though I have a feeling it looks better on him than it would on her. I think he should keep it. This isn't the first time this idea has been done. In 1970, Robert Heinlein wrote a book called I Will Fear No Evil. In that story, the rich guy, Johann Sebastian Bach Smith, was dying and didn't especially want to. He had his own version of Dr. Crippen, willing to perform a brain transplant and put him into a new body. But unlike Gault, Smith wasn't willing to kill someone. He was willing to wait for some poor soul's demise, kind of like waiting for an organ donation. And he gets a new body. His secretary and favorite person in the world is murdered by a blow to the head, which is perfect for his purposes. The doctor puts his brain into her body, and away the story goes. And at this point, the doctor explains why such a thing is impossible, the spinal cord. In the book, the doctor said he just butted the end of Smith's brainstem up against the upper end of the body's spinal cord and hoped the millions upon millions of nerve threads would find each other and heal properly. See, your spinal cord is kind of like a library. There's all these millions and millions of items, and there's exactly one right place for each of them. If one is out of place, it throws things off. What happens if some of them don't find their correct counterparts? He thinks, I want to brush my teeth, and his body stands on one foot and whistles Yankee Doodle. It cannot be done. And besides, what are they going to do with the eye stalk? Leave it attached? Though I have to admit it's more stylish than a doorknob. More functional, too. I'm Irving, and you are now exiting Cartertopia.